Totally up to you. Up to you. You can come stand.
Come a little closer. Get your words on.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm Rania Mancario, CEO of Crime Stoppers of Houston, and thank you for joining us today. We'll be discussing trafficking on the Bissonnet Track and the search for fugitive Thaddeus Allen. Today with us, we have Crime Stoppers Director of Victim Services, Andy Kahn, certainly Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg, Houston Police Lieutenant Angela Merritt, Brays Oak Management District Chair Ralph Rager, Southwest Management District Peter Aquaro, and then we'll be available for questions and answers. With that, I'd like to welcome Andy Kahn. Thank you.
Morning. I'd like to thank first our media partners for being here and calling attention to what we're about to discuss, and our law enforcement partners at Crime Stoppers. My name is Andy Kahn. I'm the Director of Victim Services and Advocacy for Crime Stoppers of Houston. We're here today to ask for the public's help in providing information leading up to the arrest of the offender and now convicted felon, 34-year-old Thaddeus Allen. Allen was convicted of human trafficking related offenses. He was sentenced to 75 years in prison, April 20th, 2023. Just a little slight problem though. Thaddeus Allen wasn't around for his gift. He skipped court, and he hasn't been seen since. He was out on a total of $200,000 worth of bonds for violent felonies, all related to human trafficking offenses. He was also out on a bond despite being on parole for felony theft, evading arrest, and possession of a controlled substance. Now think about that. Thaddeus Allen has 11 prior felony convictions. He has been to prison twice, and yet he was allowed to bond out while on parole. A no bond warrant was actually issued by the parole board after he was charged with the 3 offenses related to human trafficking. But that warrant was withdrawn March of 2019. The withdrawal of that no bond warrant allowed Allen to post bond and get out. Crime Stoppers is now announcing an increased reward today of up to, you got the flyer over here, up to $15,000. $15,000. We're giving you 15,000 good reasons for any information leading up to the arrest of this career, habitual, violent felon who frankly should have never been out on bond, and he's now a convicted human trafficking. I'd like to now bring up our district attorney from Harris County, Kim Ogg, talk about the case and obviously the frustrations that have led us to being here today.
Good morning. I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. Prostitution has been looked at as a victimless crime for decades. Prostitution is called human trafficking. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery. The individuals who themselves are prostituted almost always work under the protection of a pimp. They become human trafficking victims through human traffickers who feed them drugs, romantic lines, and ultimately use violence many times to coerce them and keep them in this life. Human trafficking victims are our focus. And that's why the District Attorney's Office is working very hard with our partners at the Houston Police Department to hold the people accountable who are making the money on human trafficking. The generally men who are utilizing young people, both men and women, for their own profit, in spite of the damage done. We know that individuals who are sex workers, which we now call those offenders, don't care about the cost to the victim. They only care about the take and the money. They are parasites. And Thaddeus Allen is a poster child for this type of criminal. A jury made up of regular Harris County residents found him guilty and sentenced him to 75 years, or recommended that sentence. But because he had fled the trial, he is at large. I came to Crime Stoppers and the 2 management districts through our representatives, and we asked them to employ a tried and true formula, because Thaddeus Allen can run, but he can't hide. Not with your help in the media, and not with the community's help in looking for Thaddeus Allen. What we found over the years is that as rewards increase, so does public interest. And with 15,000 good reasons to turn in Thaddeus Allen, we're hoping that exactly that will happen. Now, I'm joined by 2 of my fellow prosecutors, the folks who really do the work in our office, both Jana Oswald, now our Division Chief of Human Trafficking, and Kim Bryant, our Section Chief of the Fugitive Apprehension Section. Let me just say how they work. Jana supervises a group of prosecutors that works with the sex worker offenders. The idea is if they make outcry and we're able to work these cases, we want to move up the chain of criminal responsibility and accountability and hold people like Thaddeus Allen accountable, because we know that Harris County residents are tired of being victimized and seeing their children corrupted by people just like him and by him. But we are also working to reintegrate the sex workers back into our community, and that's why we work with community partners like the Houston 20 and Jennifer Homan, who's joined us. And we do that because they are victims, even when they don't know it. And they need assistance, counseling, and so much help. Some make it, some don't. Last year, we recommended 200 individual offenders who we believed were victims into what we call Project 180. That program has worked for the last 5.5 years. It's through a governor's office grant, and its purpose is to do 4 things: to reduce the harm of criminal convictions for young adult offenders and others charged with prostitution and sex victimization-related crimes. They also sought to bridge the same population with community agencies to provide that help that government can't provide. And more importantly to us, the prosecutors, and me, the chief law enforcement official in Harris County, we want to increase accountability of those who exploit these young victims. And finally, we're hoping to gather data and research to inform legislators about the results of their actions, especially those related to demand and buyers. What we see from the buyers is that they are often, almost always, one-time offenders with no previous criminal history. We try also to reintegrate them into the community without a criminal conviction, because the purpose is to change their behavior. The humiliation, the embarrassment of their families and workers, co-workers, finding out that they were soliciting prostitution is sometimes enough. But also through accountability with our pretrial programs, we find that it is effective. And we have not seen a large amount of recidivism with those offenders. So we're working with the supply and demand to try and change the paradigm. But for us prosecutors and for police, our focus is on Thaddeus Allen and other human traffickers, those who are exploiting for profit our kids, our community, and harming the businesses out on the Bissonnet Track who are deserving of police protection so that their customers can get to their businesses, so that families living in the area don't have to watch human trafficking day in, day out in their area. So we want to thank our partners at the management districts for picking up that community responsibility and really putting their money behind our efforts. I want to thank the Houston Police Department for the tremendous effort that they are making to help the people in and around that track and to change the paradigm with human trafficking. And I want to thank our community partners like Houston 20 who do the work with these young men and women, trying to help them through housing, counseling, drug treatment, and many other types of services that folks who find themselves selling their bodies, the last thing they own, they need so much help. So, Thaddeus Allen, we look forward to seeing you in court. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Merritt of HPD. She is over this specific initiative out on the Bissonnet Track. Lieutenant?
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Lieutenant Angela Merritt, and I am in charge of the Vice Division Human Trafficking Unit. Thank you today for the opportunity to speak and bring awareness and request assistance from the public with capturing Thaddeus Allen, who was convicted of human trafficking charges but fled before he was sentenced to 75 years. In June of 2018, human trafficking investigators responded to Memorial Hermann Southwest Hospital after patrol officers conducted a hospital check and encountered a young lady who had been brought in for medical care by Thaddeus Allen. The hospital staff became alarmed that this young lady could possibly be a victim of human trafficking because Mr. Allen would not allow the complainant to speak directly to hospital staff, nor would he leave the room. It was not until hospital security escorted him from the room so that the hospital staff could examine the complainant. The complainant advised that she met Mr. Allen on a social media website. They exchanged phone numbers and became friends. Mr. Allen advised the complainant that he could make her life better, how she could make easy money, and even divulged that he was a pimp. The complainant then moved in with Mr. Allen, and he proceeded to instruct her on how to prostitute and what to charge. He took pictures of her, posted sex ads on various websites, and arranged the sex dates. All the money that the complainant made were given to Mr. Allen. As time progressed, Mr. Allen became more violent and aggressive towards the complainant. He physically assaulted her and sexually abused her. On several occasions, he even held a gun to her head, threatening to harm her and her family. Based on the statements given by the complainant and additional evidence, which was corroborated by the complainant's statements, the Harris County District Attorney's Office accepted charges for trafficking of persons and compelling prostitution by force, and Mr. Allen was arrested. In early April 2023, a jury trial was held, and Mr. Allen was found guilty. Although he did not show up for the verdict or sentencing, he was sentenced to 75 years. Mr. Allen currently remains at large, and we request the public's assistance with capturing him. Because human trafficking is so pervasive, it takes a vast majority of resources to address the issue. The Houston Police Department is the lead law enforcement agency of the Human Trafficking Rescue Alliance Task Force, which is commonly referred to as HATRA. The task force consists of 33 local, state, and federal agencies within the surrounding Houston area, to include Harris County DA's office. Thank you, DA Ogg, and your staff for the successful prosecution of Mr. Allen. This investigation could not have been successful without the assistance of our HATRA task force partners who serve as force multipliers. along with our great partnership with Crime Stoppers, which helps to shed light and bring awareness to these egregious incidents. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the medical staff from Memorial Hermann Hospital. If it had not been for their knowledge and their training, this incident may have gone unnoticed. What I would like to convey to the public is to be extremely cautious when you are interacting with individuals over social media platforms. These platforms are often utilized by perpetrators to take advantage of and exploit those who are vulnerable. If it sounds too good to be true, more than likely it is, with promises of a better life, fame, fortune, or quick, easy money. These are all red flags. Perpetrators, such as Mr. Allen, first seek to gain the trust of their victim by showering them with attention, affection, and even gifts. Once that trust is gained, isolation, manipulation, and control soon follow, along with the threat or use of emotional and physical abuse. If you are a victim of human trafficking or encounter someone you suspect is a victim of human trafficking, please contact local authorities. If anyone knows the whereabouts of Mr. Allen, please do not confront or attempt to apprehend him. Contact local authorities or Crime Stoppers. How you may contact law enforcement? Of course, if it's a life-threatening emergency, you call 911. You may contact HPD at 713-884-3131. You may contact HPD Vice Division at 713-308-8600. You can also contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. Or you can also text at 233-733, which is Be Free. And also, you may contact Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. Thank you.
We're going to hear from the management districts in the area of the Bissonnet corridor. I'm going to ask both Ralph and Peter to come up here, and we appreciate everything they've done to get this reward increased, and obviously they have a vested interest, and we appreciate everything they've done to bring this attention and to get this issue back out there.
My name is Ralph Rieger. I'm with the Braes Oak Management District. First of all, on behalf of the Board of Directors, we want to thank Crime Stoppers of Houston and the Harris County District Attorney's Office for their due diligence and tireless efforts on this case and in all that they do. So first of all, thank you. Like them, the Braes Oaks District is committed to public safety, and as a governmental agency, we're created to foster economic development, and we know that the safety comes first. Because a community that keeps a lid on crime is a place where more businesses, residents, and shoppers and visitors want to be. As such, the Braes Oaks Management District funds several public safety projects and is proud to contribute money aimed to reapprehending a notorious criminal who's operated on our side of town. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Peter Aquero. I'm the Public Safety Chair for the Southwest Management District. The Southwest Management District covers a large, diverse area of the southwest part of Houston, which includes Sharpstown, Chinatown, the Mahatma Gandhi District, and the Richmond Corridor. This also includes a 1-mile strip of the Bissonnet Track, and this is why the Southwest Management District wanted to jump in on board with the Braes Oaks District and Kim Ogg and the Crime Stoppers to be able to apprehend Mr. Allen. The district continues to support public safety through various efforts, and I know a lot of the districts do this. Public safety is the #1 priority of our where we spend most of the money in the districts. We try to support all of our stakeholders through HPD, through the DA's office, through the Harris County Attorney Program. We represent a lot of the business property owners in the district to be able to have people to come to the district to spend their money, visit, live, eat, and enjoy the best parts of the most diversified part of Houston. And that's why we are passionate about getting Mr. Allen back in custody. So we would like to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to support Crime Stoppers in this effort. And we welcome you to the district whenever you can come down. Thank you.
December of 2021, we asked for the public's help in finding Deandrick Dorsey. Dorsey was also convicted of human trafficking-related offenses, and exactly like Thaddeus Allen, he bolted before the trial was completed. A jury sentenced him to 40 years. We had a news conference just like we are today, putting Dorsey back on the map. A Crime Stoppers tip led to his arrest. He's now safely in prison. Lightning's going to strike twice, and it's going to happen again. But we need the public's help, and you're the best eyes and ears out there. And we truly believe somebody knows where Thaddeus Allen is, and it's time for you to step up and do the right thing. And Crime Stoppers is offering you up to 15,000 reasons. That's up to $15,000 for contacting us anonymously at 713-222-TIPS. You can submit a tip online, www.crime-stoppers.org. We have a mobile app available in over 20 languages. Do the right thing. We need Mr. Allen back in custody before he harms somebody else. And for law enforcement out there that are looking for him, anytime you've got a fugitive at large, it's a dangerous, dangerous situation. So just our thoughts and prayers are with them as well. And we'll be more than happy to take any questions at this time. But one more thing, this brings up, again, the other issue, as more and more trials, as District Attorney Ogg are saying, more and more trials are being conducted, and more defendants who've been out on bond for years, and bond for some serious violent offenses. This is probably, off to my knowledge, at least the third case that we've had in which a suspect was at a jury trial, didn't like what he was seeing, and then bolted. And so we need to really start getting a grip when we start having these trials, particularly for defendants that are out on bond, that are facing long prison sentences. And we got to do everything we can to ensure that they will show up in court. And if they don't show up in court, we need to get on it right away. So with that, I'll take any questions.
I know a lot of times some of these human traffickers is stunning the number of victims they have. Have we been able to determine how many victims or how many people he was trafficking?
Lieutenant?
Based on statements made from the complainant, we do know that there were other individuals that were involved. However, there was some difficulty with getting them to come forward with information. A lot of these complainants, what DA Ogg just mentioned, they don't believe that they are victims. And I believe that was the case with these young ladies, that they did not believe that they were victims, and this is someone that they cared about, and they did not want to come forward with any information for us to investigate. She was 25 at the time. Well, I don't want to go into what specifics were involving her, what she was brought to the hospital for HIPAA, but she had been, over a serious period of time, she had been abused by him, physically and sexually.
I think it's important to note they also are, the victims are also scared.
Come up here.
The victims are also scared to come forward because they think they're going to be arrested and charged. But I think what DA Ogg just told you is there is a program, a diversion program, to help them get services, let them be independent, financially successful. We're out there to help them, and they won't be charged as long as they go through programs and get some help. And we've seen a lot of great exits, that this has been absolutely successful. And so the community is there to not victimize them again, to not persecute them, but to help them.
He was sentenced back in April, correct?
Yes, he was sentenced. So introduce yourself, Jana. I'm Jana Oswald. I'm the division chief of the Human Trafficking Division. So when he was in the middle of trial, he absconded the day before the jury was to deliberate. So he missed the closing arguments of both his own defense counsel and the prosecutor. Jury came back with a guilty verdict and then later assessed a punishment of 75 years.
And the reason for bringing him up today, what's the timing on that?
I can't tell you what the timing is on it. At this point in time, I believe law enforcement has exhausted all of their efforts in the past couple of months to be able to go down the roads that we have, any leads that we had from the contacts from just investigating the case. And now we're bringing it to the public to see if they have any information that we can then pursue.
Is that common for someone to skip out on the sentencing like that?
No, I mean, in general, on the defendants that are out on bond, no, but it does happen from time to time, especially when you're looking at aggravated time, which means that the 75-year sentence on parole eligibility, he will serve 30 years day for day before being eligible for parole. That's a huge sentence to be looking at. So I think that the amount of time that an offender looks at would be another component to why they may flee.
So if he's arrested or found, he goes straight to jail on that 75-year sentence, or how does that look? Does he go back to court for something?
He would come back for sentencing, to be sentenced to that 75 years, understand that that was his sentence, and then he would be transported to TDC whenever they have a space for him.
And this is a generic question just about the efforts on Bissonnet. If someone could, detail all the recent efforts that have been happening, what sort of impacts have we seen, positive or negative? Have we seen any movement in either direction? I don't know if you have numbers or arrests or anything like that.
No, I don't. First, let me just introduce myself. My name is Salam Zia. I have the privilege and honor of leading the Vice Division. You've already met Lieutenant Angela Merritt. I also wanted to introduce Tony Garcia, Sergeant. He actually is the task force coordinator over the Human Trafficking Rescue Alliance. They're an important partner in our human trafficking efforts. Also, so it starts with the mayor, right? The mayor made this one of the priorities for the city. And not only that, he resourced us with the ability to be able to go out there and have a comprehensive strategy to addressing it. Not only that, we've got the great support of our council members, especially the council members whose district that the Bissonnet Track is located in. They've been a tremendous help to us with providing us with resource and just general support. And then, along with that, our community partners. Anytime we look at a problem as complex as human trafficking, we look at it in three different ways. One is, can we solve it through education? If education alone can't address it, what can we do environmentally to help resolve the issue? If that doesn't solve the issue, then we look at, okay, enforcement-wise, what is it that we can do? Well, when it comes to human trafficking and the issues that have been present at the Bissonnet corridor, we have to take all those things into consideration. Education-wise, we've met with countless times with community stakeholders, management districts, our business community in the area, the residential community, to help make them more aware of what human trafficking is, how to report it. We've also we've had a media campaign where we've had other members of our organization, for example, the West Side Division, which is actually the patrol area where the Bissonnet Track is at. Members over there have done short media campaigns about trying to educate the community on the efforts that are going on over there. Environmentally, I think one of the things that has come about and we've received questions on is the blockages of some of the streets in and around the Bissonnet corridor. And I think that has helped out a lot with deterring with some of the the vehicle traffic that may be associated with Johns that are trying to look for prostitution in the area. So that's been a great effort. And enforcement-wise, we've kind of rallied the troops, and so it's not any one single entity within our organization that's attacking it, human trafficking. My folks, both in a proactive and undercover capacity, work with the West Side Patrol area to conduct various operations in the area to target the root cause of the problem. As DA Ogg said, we want to go after the traffickers. They're the master manipulators. They're the ones that are behind human trafficking, and they need to know that the Houston Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners aren't going to stop until we identify them and we apprehend them. So there's no single strategy. Again, this is a very comprehensive strategy in place to help try to address human trafficking. And one of the biggest things that I think we've seen in the past is, this is very resource constrained, right? Resource intensive. And our organization, just like other organizations, have resource constraints. But because of the mayor's priority and the resources that have been applied and our partnerships, we're able to keep the intensity of this effort going and increase our scope and the scale of the operation. So I think when you put all that together, that's why you're seeing the success. And what's success? Well, you can just hear it from the business operators in the area. I think there have been numerous interviews that have been done with some of the business owners, and they tell you themselves that they see a difference in the area, whether it's the schools or the people that live there. Whether that's information we get from our patrol officers. But if you just drive down Bissonnet, you can clearly see there's a difference. And the community expects that, and they deserve that. And so we're doing everything we can from our front, along with the district attorney's office and our community partners, to stay at it as long as we can, and hopefully get a long-term solution to the problem.
And I know it's still early, but do you know if these traffickers and sex workers are moving out to other areas and other streets, or does it appear that they're going away?
Yeah, so just like anytime you apply so much resources, law enforcement attention to an issue, the big problem starts becoming smaller problems, right? And so, to your question, has some of the issues been dispersed? Yes, of course, but we know that from past operations, and so we anticipated that. Along with the DA's office, and so we're also addressing those areas, right? And some of it moves to other areas, and some of it goes underground, right, online in the cyberspace. And so we haven't lost focus. We're trying to address all those different aspects, trying to stay ahead of the problem. And we're lockstep with the DA's office and making sure that we're right along with wherever these traffickers are, so they know that we're not too far behind.
I think Jennifer Homan with the Houston 20. I think what we also need to mention here is we can end this as a community if people stop buying children, women, and men for sex, right? So that's decrease the demand, decrease the buyers going out there on the Bissonnet Track, which is somewhat our red light district here in Houston. Stop driving up and down there or going online and purchasing children and paying to have sex with them. Stop going to the illicit massage businesses. And we can put Thaddeus Allen, people like Thaddeus Allen, with no longer working for them. I want you to, if any of you are going to see the movie, The Sound of Freedom, this right here is that task force in Houston. What's happening, and you're seeing in that movie in foreign countries with the demand coming from the United States, this is that team. This is that Homeland Security team that's fighting this. We need to get behind them. We need to get behind HPD and donate to their foundation, support DA Ogg and what she's doing, and support Crime Stoppers to continuously go after the traffickers and the buyers and to help victims and get them to a safe place. So again, stop buying people for sex, and we won't have this problem in our city.
Is there an assumption that while he's not in jail, he could still be being involved with sex trafficking right now?
So we haven't been able to get Thaddeus. I'm sure he's out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that law enforcement is not out there looking. So I think what we're here for is to reach out to the community who are our force multipliers. Say, hey, you're our eyes and ears, and we need your help to help locate them. But please don't be mistaken. The Houston Police Department, along with our partners, are out there looking, and we're gonna use every method and opportunity we have to try to locate him, but we can't do it without you. Is he out there sex trafficking? We don't know. What I'd like for him to do is to keep hiding, make him think that, hey, they're out there looking for me, and that's essentially what we're going to be doing, right? And go out there looking for him, and so he doesn't have the opportunity to engage in any other type of criminal activity.
Sorry, Jennifer Home with Houston 20. So I firmly believe he's out there still trafficking. Remember, the biggest source of this is online, whether through Discord, Snapchat, Instagram. That's one of their marketplaces. It's not just the street of Bissonnet. It's also the online marketplace. And I'm going to promote it. But if you're a parent out there, I would go read the book by Runya Mancarius, the CEO of Crime Stoppers, called The Online World: What You Think You Know and What You Don't Know. And go read that so you can protect your children. Stop giving him victims of children. We know that in all of these apps, they are soliciting children online. And so I personally believe that he's back out there. That's why it's important for you to help us find him.
Anything else? And also keep in mind that you had 12 members of the community, jurors, who took time out of their daily lives and heard the evidence and rendered a verdict. And those 12 people in a jury need to see a resolution as well. So we need to send a message out to the jurors that if you do convict and sentence someone, that they're going to be around to receive that sentence. So it's time to get Thaddeus Allen back where he belongs, and we're counting on the public to help us, and we've got 15,000 good reasons for them to do that. So again, thank you. We appreciate you, the media partners. We appreciate all our law enforcement partners, District Attorney, Crime Stoppers, our staff here, Jennifer Homan. Thank you again, because this is a team effort. So thank you again. And if I could get everybody's attention real quickly, our colleague Tanya Cruz's birthday is today. She is 29 years old. So let's all wish her a very happy birthday. So let's start singing